Sean Renfree now joining us in studio. Quarterback from Notre Dame Prep, off the combine. You don't look haggard. You don't look beat up. You left Indianapolis last night. Thanks for coming in studio.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so right off the top, here is, we're going to play for you a little snippet. ESPN draft analyst, everybody's got an opinion, all right? Todd McShay from ESPN joined us from the combine. Here's what Todd McShay had to say about quarterback Sean Renfree, local kid making good out of Duke and Notre Dame Prep.
I like Sean. I think Sean's one of, if you'd give me one, sleeper quarterback or under the radar guy, he would be it. He's got the size, doesn't move all that well, but he knows how to handle pressure. And, if you can't move well, you've got to know how to get the ball out before the pressure gets to you, and that's where he excels. You talk to guys in and around that program who have been around him. Obviously, Coach Cutcliffe with his, extensive coaching and working with the Manning brothers and, how much he praises Renfree. There's a lot to that, and I think you're going to see him probably come off the board a little bit earlier than everyone expects, maybe as early as, I don't know, fourth would maybe be a stretch, but fifth round wouldn't shock me at all.
That's Todd McShay with us on the show. Do you agree with all that?
I think it's a great compliment, especially from Todd McShay. He's been in this a long time, but yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty right on right there. I can handle pressure. I've been well coached. But I'm excited to show people what I can do.
And you're not able to do that right now. Why don't you give people the backstory of why you weren't able to work out at the combine?
Sure. Right now, I'm just recovering from a pec injury. The last play of our bowl game, I was hit and tore my pec. My pec major, had it repaired the next morning by our team doc, T. Mormon. Came back home, and I've been rehabbing it ever since. It takes, about 12 weeks to have a good, strong repair. And, once that 12 weeks is up, then I'll start throwing. And then I'll work out for teams sometime in April.
Sean Renfree joining us in studio with Brad Sesmat at Notre Dame Prep, then off to Duke, recovering from an injury with the combine, now having been put in his rearview mirror. He joins us for a couple of minutes. So what did you do at the combine if you couldn't throw?
Well, for me, the medical evaluations is very important. Teams want to make sure I'm going to have a good repair and I'll be able to throw and, won't have any setbacks. And I did. I had good medical evaluations from every team there. Looked at me, got MRIs. So I'll go back in April for another evaluation. They send players who are injured and unable to participate in the combine. They'll go back in April for another medical evaluation. But I did well there. Psych evaluations is another important thing. I did well in that. Anything that I had control over, I feel like I did well in. I was just unable to participate the last day and all the running and the physical aspect. But like I said, I'll be able to do that sometime in April, and I know I'll do well.
Okay, so let's give the fans an idea then. On the medical evaluation side, they throw a gown on you and they poke and prod for 15 minutes, or is it 3-4 hours? How does that work at the combine?
Oh, it's more than 3-4 hours. I mean, it's a 2-day process of medical evaluation. The first day you go in there, and you got to go to the local hospital. They do every blood test on you, every kind of test you could imagine.
They draw blood, they draw urine, they draw everything out of you.
You do hearing tests, heart tests, vision tests. I mean, you do anything that could possibly be wrong with you physically, they'll find it. So you do that the first day. You got to get, I had every player gets at least 10 X-rays. They get MRIs, any injuries you had. So I had a couple MRIs, but it takes all day. And then the next part is, after you get those basic evaluations, then you'll go see team docs. Every team has, at least 2 doctors there. And they poke and prod at you and ask you questions. They want to find out, any kind of medical history you've had, injuries.
So all 32 teams poked at you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's every team will take a look at you and do an evaluation for the most part. So that is a long process. The second day, when you're with the orthopedic surgeons, with each team, they want to poke and prod at you, and it takes, quite a while. It takes, a few hours, and everybody has to do that, though.
Mentally taxing?
No, I mean, for me, it's fun because you're around other players the whole time. Everybody's kind of waiting for their evaluation, so you're sitting there. It's not like you're just sitting alone. You can talk to players and stuff like that, and there's some good guys and a lot of funny characters at the combine, so I had a good time.
So you're with the quarterbacks the whole time, right?
Yes. You go by groups. Groups are split up by quarterbacks and receivers. So I'm with quarterbacks, and also there's receivers in our group. So for the most part, yeah, I'm with a group of quarterbacks and receivers.
Who are you with from the quarterbacks?
So in my group, we had Ryan Nassib was in my group. Who else? EJ Manuel, a couple other guys. like they split up quarterbacks into two groups. I think there's like 16 total, so 8 in mine, and then they also put like 8 or 7 receivers in my group. We had a couple guys like Quentin Patton from Louisiana Tech as a character. He was in my group, so it was a lot of fun.
Sean Renfree with us in studio. Valley quarterback at Notre Dame Prep, went to Duke, just coming back off the combine yesterday with Brad Susmat, pros 2 preps, extra sports 910, the Valley sports leader. Psychological tests. Okay, let's go to that. You went through the physical. What do they do with you psychologically at the combine the last few days?
Sure. So after your medical evaluations, they'll do, like you just said, a psych test to everybody. The first thing they'll do is a Wonderlic. It's essentially a simplified SAT or just standardized test that everybody takes, but the difficult part about that is that it's timed. You have to do everything really quick. And then after that, nothing's timed for the most part. The NFL did have a new kind of aptitude test that they use, which is on the computer, which is about an hour long, and that was a little bit different than, anything I've been around in terms of, logic questions and,
What was the strangest question on that one? How many cans in a six-pack?
It wasn't questions. It was, no, but it was more like one of the strangest ones I saw was like, they give you six cubes, and then in each cube is like a picture, and then they do a one next to it, and the picture is like in all different orders, same 6 cubes, and then it said, then they give a third box and, asked us where does each picture go. And I couldn't make anything out of it, and I've been practicing a while, and just because we know going into it, there'll be questions like that on it, and I couldn't even make sense of it. But just things like that, and then what motivates a player, what does he do in certain situations? What are his preferences? What's his background? What's his family life? They want to know everything that makes a player tick. So that took about 5 hours too.
Birth order, I've heard that one.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of strange questions like would you like cats or dogs better? I mean, it's
seriously.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
Coke, Pepsi.
I didn't see that one, but they have.
Do you like cats or dogs better? Right,
for me.
Yeah,
for dogs because I had a dog, but. All kinds of strange stuff, but I mean, if you have fun with it, and it's not a big deal.
What was the highlight for you at the combine?
I think the interviews, they were great. Just to be able to sit down and talk football with quarterback coaches and coaches in general excites me. It's something I love to do is talk football. And I couldn't do the physical part. That obviously would have been my favorite, but to sit down and talk ball with coaches was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
The head coach that you walked in and you had wow, I'm sitting with fill in the blank. This is pretty cool.
When I sat down with Josh McDaniels, I mean, he's not a head coach right now. He's the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. He had a head coaching job. When I sat down with him, obviously he was a really great guy. He's a really nice guy, but incredibly knowledgeable of the game. He just asked a little bit different questions than everybody else, and I had a great conversation with him.
And the one that you kind of got you off balance, did you have one of those?
Yeah, no, that was same thing applies for Coach McDaniels. He kind of threw me off a little bit. Instead of asking basic questions about football, he kind of asked me about my development as a quarterback, and that kind of threw me off. I want to talk ball in terms of X's and O's, but then I got to think about how have I changed over the last 3 years, because they want to know how quarterbacks develop and make sure they're getting better over time. So that kind of threw me off. I had to think about that for a minute, But, like I said, he asked a little bit different questions.
Sean Renfree with us in studio, former Notre Dame Prep quarterback from Duke, going to the NFL draft. He was at the Combine this weekend with Brad Susmat for a couple of minutes. When you look back now on the Combine, you were well-schooled. Eric Metz is your agent who's here in the Valley. It sounds like you were well-prepped. You were over at API working out, rehabbing your shoulder. Was there anything at the Combine that you kind of had thrown at you that you weren't expecting?
No, I think, like I said, I was well prepared going into it. And everybody knows kind of what compromises the combine and, what you do each day. They might not be able to tell you in order what happens, but they have a good idea what's going to happen. I mean, I knew going into all the psych tests kind of what some of the questions would be. So I thought I was well prepared, great resources here, and, I didn't really feel any shock going into the combine.
What's your plan for the next 6-8 weeks?
Just right now to get healthy. I just got cleared to start running and throwing. That'll be, be a little bit of a slow process. I haven't done that in a couple months. But I'll go back, today I'll just go right back to API and start doing that again. And I'll be there for the next, 6 to 8 weeks, like you said, just rehabbing, starting to run again, starting to throw, get stronger. I haven't been able to lift my upper body, so I'll be able to start doing that now. And then, like I told you earlier, I'll go back to Indianapolis for that medical evaluation. That'll be important to show docs I've made a full recovery. and then sometime in April, hoping earlier than later, I'll throw for teams and I'll set up a workout.
And that day is going to be when you on one hand, you probably be so excited you get to do what you do.
Sure.
On the other hand, there may be a little bit of trepidation of, okay, this is my one shot. But it really isn't when you think about it, because Coach Cutcliffe has done so much with you and prepped you for this. And I remember when I first met you, and it would have been 5 years ago now, and you were just very like you are now. There doesn't really seem to be very many highs and lows. You just go out and do what you do.
Sure. No, I mean, somebody could get nervous because, other guys will be able to throw at their combine. At the combine, they'll be able to throw at their pro days, and they might be able to throw at personal workouts. For me, it's just going to be one, pretty much one workout for me. But I'm confident what I can do. I've thrown the football in my life. I've been well coached. I'm not really worried. I'm just more excited than anything else that I can throw before the combine, because after my injury, they weren't sure I was going to be able to throw, till after the draft. But I'm just happy I've made a very quick recovery. I'll be able to throw. I'm confident, more than anything.
What has Coach Cutcliffe helped you with most in preparation for the NFL?
I think preparation for the game. He's big on being very thorough in how you prepare, and then when you practice, doing things just like it's a game. So when I was from practice to games, things weren't a whole lot different. It wasn't a big shock to me to play in a game. It was just pretty much like going to practice every day. He makes things very difficult on quarterbacks, puts a lot on their plate, which is the same thing that happens in the NFL. They expect you to know a lot in terms of protections and plays. There's no question about that, but playing the game incredibly fast, which is important for that position.
Who's he put you in touch with in terms of, has he put you in touch with Eli or Peyton or some of the people that he's coached?
Yeah, I mean, those both Peyton and Eli have reached out to me as a resource. They're great at that. They're really willing to help any of Coach's players. So I'm very grateful for that. And obviously Coach Cutt's a great resource in that regard.
Offense you want to be in?
Any offense that throws the football. I mean, every team in the NFL is going to throw the football a lot.
Sure.
I'm just happy to go anywhere. So
that's the right answer. You're ready to roll. Well, look, so I appreciate you coming into our palatial estate. Now you know where we are. So come on back sometime, and we will definitely be following your progress. Best of luck to you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'd love to come back.
Sean Renfree in studio for a couple of minutes, former Notre Dame prepper. His late coach, Scott Bemis, one of the absolute great people. He probably helped you quite a bit, too, along the way in all this.
Oh, I mean, there's no question. I think about Coach Bemis a lot. I thought about him there. We sure miss him a lot, but he's definitely prepared me more for the adversity I face. What I'm facing now is more so than football, but that's one of the keys to being successful in football is being able to overcome adversity, and he was the number one example of that.
Sean Renfree in studio. We're back with more after this timeout. Brad Sussmat with you till 2. Extra Sports 910 Pros, 2preps.com.